Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 676 of the Drunk Nerds podcast. I'm host, as always, I'm Tyler. And join me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I'll tell you what, man, I'm surviving the chaos. Chaos of everything going on across the
Chaos.
workplace and also in terms of the family stuff as well. But other than that, though, I'm doing all right. Doing all right stuff. Had a chance to play a couple different games this past week.
Nice.
But other than that, though, I mean, it's just been kind of the same old, same old. I know there were like a couple of gaming stuff this past week that did kind of happen and stuff. I know we'll be touching a bit upon some of the stuff a little bit later. But yeah, man, it's pretty good. But how about you? How have you been doing?
I'm all right, clanging and banging as always. It was a rough week of work. It's been really hot and all that. It's been a lot of hours, but, we're recording this usually record Saturday night. We're doing this on a Sunday. I was very tired. It was a long week. I was exhausted from the week. And then AEW had their All In show yesterday. It was and it was amazing. And honestly, I think whatever energy was left in the tank was gone. I was just emotionally drained after. It was a great show. It was amazing. So I had a ton of fun with that. And yeah, I was as much as I love video games. There's no like greater high from like just like entertainment things like movies, TV shows, stuff like that to me. Other like wrestling like is just like when wrestling is great. To me, it's just the fucking best. So coming off of that, it was an incredible show. Like the big four matches on the show all like have exceeded any expectations I had, and it was just like, man, beautiful storytelling, super well done. Yeah, so it was just a ton of fun. I was buzzing for a while, and it was definitely like just a shot of adrenaline after the show, and then like then it was just like once the tank was empty, it was done. I was like, I just need to go to bed. So I messaged Gables. I'm like, can we just do it tomorrow? And he luckily we were able to do it today. So that's why we're doing the episode now. It's a Sunday afternoon, and this will be going up a little later than normal. That's why it's still daylight out. If you can't tell, if you're watching on YouTube, normally it's a little darker in the rooms. We got lamps on and stuff like that to have light. But today a little different,
True.
obviously. So yeah, so that's why I'm not drinking, because I don't want to day drink a beer or two in the middle of the day on Sunday and then feel like garbage the rest of the day. And plus, I still got to go over. I'm having dinner with my parents tonight, so I probably shouldn't be going over there with a buzz. They'd be really disappointed in me, probably. But anyways, we are the Drunk Nerds podcast. We every week Gables and I get together, post, and do this podcast for fun about video games and everything we love about them, everything we hate about them. Mostly like about them. But yeah, if you guys like what we're doing, like the show, please like, follow, subscribe. We're on every podcast service out there that's available. We're on YouTube. YouTube's the best way to support us. We're really pushing that. We're getting closer. We're over 500 subscribers now. We want to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark where we can actually make some like a little bit of ad revenue, like the pennies that they give us. But it's more than we'll make otherwise. There's also, if you want to, we have a membership on there. It's just $1 a month. We don't have like anything like extra to give you, but we don't have a Patreon. It's really just like a way to say thank you, and we would appreciate it. If you can do that for us. Also, but really honestly, just liking and sharing, comments. Same thing on like Apple, Spotify, stuff like that. Leave whatever review system they have. If you can help us out over there, help us out with the algorithm. That's actually probably the best way to show us, just more people can see us. If you hear my bird in the background, I do apologize. It is a crack hour for him. But yeah, usually he's already in bed by now. Well, when we do the podcast, so that's why typically you don't hear from him. But yeah, he's back there. I got music playing for him right now. So I believe I got Elton John going for him right now. So and he loves Elton John. So
Ah,
music goes pretty crazy. But yeah. Anyways, Gables, let's get into some of the news this week. So it's kind of we're kind of in this weird little spot here where like there's been some stuff, but like it's been a little lighter the last couple weeks, feels like, but we should have, but it's right now, it's like we've been like a lot more game stuff going on right now, which if I have to take a ton of news or a ton of games to play, I would take the video games. But I think one of the bigger news this week, we had Ghost of Yotei State of Play. That was kind of like, we knew it was coming in July. They said that already, but like they kind of just like announced it, like I think on like Monday, and then it was like that it was coming on Thursday. I believe Thursday was when it came out. But it's like a 19-minute long State of Play. Kind of broke down like the details, like what's the difference between this and like the like Ghost of Tsushima and stuff like that. Some of the key stuff they talk about with this one, you play as Atsu, and this is like we've already knows a little bit of the story details, but like basically there's like the Yotei 6 that like kills her family. And then like they think they kill her too, and then she like leaves, and then like this is like 16 years after the events of the kind of what's supposed to be the beginning of the game. And what's interesting though is one of the first things they talk about in the State of Play is that like With a push of a button, you can jump between like the current day, like adult Atsu, and then like her 16 years ago, and it will show the difference of like I don't know if it's like throughout the entire game. I don't know how like the details of like they only show like a little bit of it, but I'm curious like how in depth it goes. Like it's going to show you the difference of like when they go back to like her village and stuff like that. Like you can push a button and it'll show you like what it looks like now, and then you can go back and look like show you like what it looked like back then. So I'm curious like how in depth that's going to be. Like is there going to be like cutscenes you can't see unless you go back, or is like I don't know how. I don't think you're going to be like there's going to be gameplay actually, but like I think it's only going to be like my guess is like it's only going to be like certain areas, which I think I'd prefer. Otherwise, that's crazy. You think they built this whole world twice, otherwise. But
I know, right?
I thought that's kind of a cool idea, but I want to see like how crazy that gets. Another big thing to talk about is like they call this like the clue system. So like one of the big things is like instead of like having like it's like I think this is like something we're starting to see here where people are trying to get more creative with like open world games where like we definitely see the fatigue of like the kind of checklist and stuff like that, and just like opening up the map and there's a million things on the screen that we see from like it seems like a lot of games nowadays. One of the big things we're doing this way is more about like discovery than anything else. Like we're definitely starting to see I think the fruits of like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom has done here, where like
Right.
you get in combat with other samurai and stuff out in the world, and you can like interrogate them and ask them certain questions, and sometimes they'll give you clues and they'll like point you in the direction you can find like secrets around the world, or maybe they like betrayed you and they send you like into like a village where you're like where a bunch of like enemies are at, and you got to fight them. Like you get like these clue cards and stuff, and like it's almost like putting like like a puzzle piece together, like helping you like find like this next location around the world. But you do have like a spyglass that you can use for like you can like you look around, you can look at things like create points of interest, stuff like that. Like maybe it's like a little tower in the background, or there are like kind of like remember in the first game Gables they had like the foxes and stuff like that, and they like lead you to
Yes.
things. They do have that again.
Yes.
That's like it's birds and stuff that they have, but I don't know, Gables. I mean, how excited are you for like I know like you kind of like are definitely like you don't like open world games are not typically your jam, but I don't know like what's your like thoughts with like I know you're excited for Yotei here, but like kind of what's your thoughts so far?
Yes. Well, so far from hearing a little bits of the information, I am fairly excited to give Ghost of Yotei a shot. I mean, I definitely did enjoy Ghost of Tsushima. I didn't completely like play through till the end and stuff because of other things, but at the same time, I did like the aspect of the overworld. I did like the aspect of the discovery, as just discovery, sort of Legend of Zelda sort of style, to where you're going to specific places. You're like, okay, what's going on over here, or what's going on over there? Like the typical open world thing should be, instead of like doing the Assassin's Creed model, the Ubisoft model, to where, hey, you have a different type of checklist. Hey, let's go this overmap. Hey, let's go ahead and clear out this base and then this checkpoint and then this checkpoint, because that just eliminates a sense of discovery. It just creates more of a chore list of what you have to do complete. It's a task list, a job. It's a job list, basically, when games applies to those type of aspects. But at least what I do like about Ghost of Yotei, from what I've initially seen so far, is I can go and explore different terrains. I was unaware in terms of the whole switching in like certain places, at least searching between the adult version and like changing to the kid, like the younger version of the protagonist and stuff. It kind of gives me a little bit of like a 7 year skip sort of thing for Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Kind of like how when you start off as Kid Link, and then all of a sudden something happens, you get flash forward 7 years into the future where everything's all devastated as adult Link and stuff, and then you have to change through certain aspects by going to that one temple. But I like that idea. At least it gives it a little bit some more fresh, instead of like doing the similar things other open world games have done. But yeah, I can't wait to really experience that, because I do have my new TV that I just bought this year.
Oh yeah.
And then on top of that, and my PS5, it's still great in terms of the performance stuff. I mean, I don't do the thing with PS5 games to where I just have high fidelity and not performance or anything. I want to see like the frame rate stuff just super high and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of like my overall thoughts about it.
Yeah. I do like I'd like a nice balance between the self discovery and then them just like putting everything on a map for you. Like I'm definitely not the type of person that's like, I'm just gonna wander around for hours and just like it's fun finding those random events. Like the
Right.
idea of it sometimes, but then it's like also like I'd be like if I spend 5 hours wandering around like I didn't find anything like and obviously they're gonna have like things that kind of like guide you to locations like that's like every game does that, but
Yes.
like there would be like if I'm just like wandering around this area of the map and like I'm trying to find certain specific things like that would be frustrating I think. So like
Hmm.
I like a nice little like balance between like kind of a hand holding, but also like let me like only also like try to it's like letting your kid solve this puzzle on his own without instead of you putting it together for him type of thing. Yeah, like I do like some of that stuff. They also talk about they're bringing back like bounties, the hot springs, the bamboo strikes. No idea if
Hmm.
the haikus will be back or not. One cool thing though they mentioned, so like remember in like Ghost of Tsushima they had like the 4 different like stances, and there was all like there's like
Yes.
strength and weaknesses. So the difference here is now Atsu's just kind of a shit ton of weapons on her, like like an insane amount of weapons that one person would carry around. Like she has like she's gonna have her, the sword obviously. There's gonna be dual blades. There's gonna be a different type of like a longer samurai sword, but also a
Okay.
spear. And then like this chain that looks like it's almost like the fucking scorpion from Mortal Kombat like, get over here thing. Where like it runs and just like
Mm,
stabs him. It's like a then like, yanks him in, basically just fucking kills him.
I see.
Um,
So basically, the weapon's purpose is to toss it to your enemy, hook them on, and then just reel them in.
Well, I don't think it reels them to them and you do the uppercut, but it will like basically like it just stabs into them and like yanks them to like you yanks them to the ground and like but it looks like it
Right.
basically is gonna kill them. But it's like when I saw it, I'm like that looks like the looks like fucking like get over here is what I was expecting her to do. She also has like a bow and a gun. But that is kind of like the big thing here is that like you like each weapon has strengths and weaknesses against the other ones. What's cool though is also
Yes.
the enemy. So it's like usually when you like in Tsushima you would like all the enemies would all just use the same. They would never switch stances. And this though, the enemies can actually swap weapons to like counteract your swapping of weapons. And like you can like if you time like parries just right, you can actually disarm them. You can pick up their weapon, and like at one point, like she picks up a weapon, she just like chucks a spear at them across the map. And that Jin Sakai and like Tsushima, like he was like more of a samurai. And he was trying to be like quiet and he'd like sneak up on your enemies. Was like against the code and stuff like that. This is like she's like no, I'm like brutal. Like I'm fucking going in. I'm just murdering everybody. This is a revenge story, rather than like like someone like dealing with a code, which I I didn't really much care for the Jin Sakai story so much. There was definitely some cool moments, but like as far as like Jin Sakai the character was probably like I thought wasn't the greatest character on this. So I'm a little more interested in like this as just being a revenge story, like going up against this Yotei 6. Another cool thing they talked about though is like instead of having like, all the allies, like every open world game, like you have all your allies you go to, and they're spread across the map, or all the vendors. I think you could still go to them, but what's cool thing is like now you can rest at a campfire and like you can like cook like fish and stuff like that, and they'll give you bonuses
Right.
or like certain like effects and stuff for certain periods of time. But what the cool thing about this is like what they call it the Yatu's Wolf Pack. So too sweet to that one. But
Nah.
it's cool is like the allies and the vendors will come to you, or like strangers will come to you, and you can like they can come sit down with you, and like that's how you can like basically progress storylines with characters, and like actually go to the vendors will come to you and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I do like that. And another really cool thing here is so they Kurosawa mode, which was like their like the black and white mode. The Kurosawa, the director, it was like all in Japanese stuff like that. They did fix it to like in Kurosawa mode in Tsushima, um, it was all Japanese, but the lip syncing was still English. It does have subtitles, obviously, but they actually changed it. So if you play in Kurosawa mode, the lip syncing actually changes to Japanese, which is really cool.
Mm.
But they actually added 2 more modes. There's a Mike mode, I believe is how you pronounce that, and Watanabe mode. These are based off of like movie directors.
Oh, I see.
So one of the directors, Tak Takasha Mike, I don't know if I'm saying it right. He's the director of 13 Assassins. So in this one, when you're in combat, like this mode, like the camera will zoom in a lot closer on Atsu, and it's a lot more bloody and a lot more mud, so it's a lot more blood and gore in that mode. And then if you want to play in the Watanabe mode, he did like the I believe Samurai Champloo anime. Is
Yes,
what he's known
yes,
for.
I'm very familiar with that one. Samurai Champloo. Yes, and that particular style, it's like a little bit more methodical in terms of its approach.
Yeah. So this mode, if you play in this mode, during combat and exploration, the music changes to lo-fi beats.
You know,
so
I dig that.
Yeah, Gables. I'm telling you told me you didn't watch this, and I'm like, dude, you missed out. Like honestly, just watch the last like the second half of this. And I was like, this is like fucking awesome. And then they had like
Yes, and Tyler, that's the initial feel that he'd have, like in terms of inside the anime as well. You know, for Samurai Champloo. Oh my God, dude, do me a favor. After we get done recording, watch the intro for Samurai Champloo. You'll
Okay.
get the initial inspiration of
God
why.
damn it, Gables is gonna try to get me into the anime
Now,
here.
now I'm even more excited because if I switched over to that style, it's gonna make me feel like I'm watching something back from 2001, and I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and it's like lo-fi beats of the music, which the music in this game so far is incredible. And like the last like few minutes of this is actually spent on the music portions of it, and they're like actually showing like the like interactions and stuff like with the directors, like with the musicians and how he wants them to play it. And like the one guy is just like mouthing and like kind of like mouthing and like using his hand of like how telling the guy, I can't remember, but it's basically like a guitar type thing, but like just like mouthing how he wants it played and how he wants to do it. And it was just awesome, like watching this director explain to this musician how he wants to do it, and then the guy just did it. I'm like, that's fucking like that's so like I would love to see a deep dive of them making the music of this because like it's so cool them explaining this. But they did put out there's 2 tracks from the game so far that they just put out on like YouTube and Spotify and stuff. That are fantastic. I mean, just like it's almost like really like it's like the Donkey Kong Direct that we had a couple weeks ago, where it's like I'm already gonna buy this game, but like it's just like seeing this, I'm like, man, this went from like it's just like it's same thing for me like Outer Worlds. It's like I was already excited for these games, but then like just see like it's the Outer Worlds 2, Donkey Kong, and like Ghost of Yotei, like these like little these state of plays, these direct, whatever you want to call them, showcases, like
Right.
like that's funny. Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation, all like their big games for this fall, this year, and it's like, man, I just like my went from like I'm already like really excited to this to like I am just like 12 out of 10 excitement now for these things. I am just so pumped to play these games. Like and just like man, it was so good. I went back and I watched that state of play again just to watch the last like 5 minutes because like that's how good the music. Like I'm telling you, the highlight to me, as great as all the gameplay stuff and everything they showed, what it was like, just the music part alone. And like I love lo-fi beats of like video game music that I love. And the fact they're just doing lo-fi beats of this game, like in the game, is incredible to me. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So Gables, I will watch the Samurai Champloo, Champloo. Sorry. Okay. Champloo. Okay. I will watch that, Gables, if you watch the last 5 minutes of the state of play. Because I think we'll both be very happy when it's over. God damn it, Gables is gonna get me to anime. I'm gonna come back next week. I've watched all 13 seasons of. I don't know how many episodes there are. I've never heard of it until today.
26 episodes.
Oh, 20. Okay, I thought you were gonna say 26 seasons. I'm like, what
you
the
gotta
fuck?
be It's not Tyler. This is not Naruto. This is not One Piece. This is not like, say, Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff. There's multiple different seasons.
Okay.
There are anime that are just based like around like that 26 episode like that was a standard way back when for certain shows like anime stuff.
Okay, that's anime I can respect. Okay, I'm high class. I watch professional wrestling. Okay, all right.
Oh god, that's a good one.
Oh man. Sorry. Anyways, next up here, Nintendo may have accidentally leaked NSO games for the upcoming for the 64. So the 64 has been it's kind of like it's been very frustrating with this NSO stuff. Where like we'll go like months. I think like Sega Genesis has a new game in like 2 years or something like that. Someone said. I don't know
like that. Yeah.
I don't know how factual it is. Like it's not one of those things. I looked it up. I just heard someone say it. So take that with a grain of salt.
Feels like 2 years.
Right, but like, or it's like there's like we go like 6-7 months, like between them adding Game Boy games, stuff like that. I think 64. It seems like we've been getting like one a month at least for a while, but I think it's not been that case now lately. But anyways, so during I believe it was a Switch 2 Direct, like the blowout event a few months ago, they like had like a screen they showed like when they were showing games like GameCube and like they're talking about the expansion pack. They showed like a background. There's like a blurred out background of like a bunch of like kind of like the Nintendo 64 like page when you go into the app on the Switch.
Right.
And what's weird is like this, like someone posted this like a couple months ago in like a Reddit page, and no one like it just didn't get really picked up on. And then like I think it was Andre Seeger from Game Explain, I want to say it was. He posted a video and like he actually like showed like hey, if you like blur out like if like you take these like box arts of 64 games, and you kind of like fade them away a little bit. Like the everything matches up perfectly. And some of the games that he discovered on this was Donkey Kong 64, Forsaken 64, Glover, and Super Smash Brothers. Were part of these. And he had a couple more that he thinks might be there, but these are like the 4 he can like, based off of what he had here, like everything lines up perfectly. So Gables, I know you've had the expansion pack for a while now. You're more the type to like I just got the online, the base mode when I got the Switch 2. So typically not my thing. But Gables, how excited are you for this? Potentially these 4 games coming, and also like, do you believe that this is actually happening?
Let's see. From the initial video I did see, which when the detail fading out certain box arts, fitting them into place, I'm actually fairly excited for it because the original Smash Brothers has been available to play last time on the Wii's Virtual Console. I think that's pretty much it. So we're talking about something back from like 2008, maybe 2009 or so. So that would become available again, which I love that. Love the original Smash. Forsaken 64 is an interesting choice. I have that game on 64. I actually tracked a copy of that down and stuff. It's kind of weird, sort of experimental in some aspects. But Glover 64, just Glover in general, that's kind of odd. But
It's not a good
at
game.
the same point, they just had like a remastered thing of Glover not too long ago. So, but the last one, Donkey Kong 64, yeah, you know what? It may be a collectathon nightmare, but I still enjoy playing that game. And what's kind of hilarious about it is it took me like a number of years to actually beat that game. And the story about that is I bought it, like my parents bought it for me back around the late 90s. I played that game and I got to a certain point where I couldn't beat the final boss, and I literally waited like around, I kid you not, like about 7 or 10 years later and stuff. And I actually went back to that boss and I beat it like by first or second try.
Yeah, nice. So you said you get a little older and smarter.
Normally, that's just kind of how it is when I was a kid. I'd play games, I would beat the ones that I could, but yet there were certain parts I couldn't, and I just basically kept them, and I waited years later and ended up beating them.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I know it was me.
Yeah. It's like I was just
But
too
I'm
young
really
and dumb
chill.
for this.
Exactly. But, I'm excited to see some more like N64 stuff. I do believe that this is legitimate. I don't have any rhyme or proof or anything, but from initial things that I've seen and some of the blurring of some of the box arts, it makes me believe that we'll possibly see these down the road. Probably not this year, because Nintendo still has to come out with other bits of drops. I mean, we just got a VC update for Super Mario Strikers not too long ago for GameCubes, but for N64, it's probably going to take a little bit longer. Maybe we'll see 1 or 2 of those games like by the end of the year, but not all the ones that possibly mentioned.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's like the most frustrating thing is like some of these games are like it's crazy to think that like these are like massive, like 2 massive like first party games that like the 64 expansion pack's been out for a few years now, and like they're still not on here. And then it's like you look at Glover and Forsaken, which are already on the Switch for like remaster modes. And I guess there's other games that are on there as well that have been put out like separately that are all you can buy on the eShop, but like they're remastered.
Right.
So this isn't like, it wouldn't necessarily like mean they're not coming. It is one of those things where was this just like a test thing they just put out to like just put out to show like their thing, like to show like in the direct. I don't know, but it's one of those things where like Nintendo's Nintendo, and it's like they're the most frustrating fucking video game company in the world because they just like
yes, absolutely 100%.
Yeah, they just like sometimes sometimes they like instead of it's like you have like you're like you're a running back running to the end zone for like an easy touchdown. There's no one within like 20 yards of you, and they just start juking for no reason.
Yes.
It's like that's them sometimes, but then also like they're gonna like it's just like they're gonna pull this crazy like rabbit out of their hat, and it's like holy shit, like give you something you never knew you wanted, not that maybe you want a rabbit, but you understand what I'm trying to say here. But
yes,
it's just like man, they just miss the layup sometimes, and they just but they'll make the half court shot. But I don't know, like I hope this is real because it just be like I'm not to say that, like I'm gonna upgrade to like the expansion pack because of this, but like it's just so frustrating and dumb that like I know like okay like Donkey Kong 64 is maybe not the most beloved game out there, but it is like that should just be on that should just be on this expansion pack already. Should have been a long time ago. Super Smash Brothers, yeah, it's the fact that like you haven't been able to like play this thing on a Nintendo console in like 20 years is fucking wild to me. You know, and like yeah, you either have to have a base copy, you know, or you know, still have a Wii around, I guess, to play this thing is just it's so dumb to me. I don't like, especially the fact that it's been what over almost 8 years now since no 7 years now since Ultimate came out, and I stopped selling DLC for that thing like 3 years ago now. There's no reason for it not to be on there. It's like Mario Kart 64 still is on there now, and they were selling DLC for Mario Kart 8. Well, like a lot more recently than they were for you know, for Nintendo. I've lost my train of thought here. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, I Glover and Forsaken, who gives a shit? Like, I don't know. I have friends that like my buddy Justin. Like, I found out about this because he sent me the video, and then like he's like, Forsaken, dude. I'm like my buddies used to play that game like all the time. We do the 4-player split screen thing, and I'm like, this game sucks. And this was like, you know, that game was like only a few years old, you know. I'm just like early 2000s, you know. And I'm like, this game is not good, and they were like, this is great. And I'm like, this sucks. It's like I still have friends to this day that like prefer Smash Brothers on 64, and I'm like, man, we're playing over at my buddy's. Actually, it was fun. We were playing at my buddy's bachelor party a couple of years ago, and like I brought my Switch over with Ultimate. I had all the DLC, I had all the controllers for all of them, and like they're not hardcore gamers. They just, you know, they just play whatever. And they're like, no, we're gonna play 64, and I'm like, I'm playing on this stupid N64 controller. It's one like we have Ultimate sitting over there. I'm like, we're playing this fucking 30-year-old goddamn game. We could play in the best version with like all these characters plus like 60 more. Just drives me goddamn insane. But yeah, I hope this is true, and I just like them to like get a lot better at this, putting things out more regularly. It is just so infuriating and baffling that they are constantly like just dribbling these things out, and it's just like they go like months, years without putting anything out, and then all of a sudden we'll just get like a random like game out that no one's ever heard of. Meanwhile, it's like these like, you know, I mean, maybe yeah, okay, like Donkey Kong 64, like yeah, it's like people have there's a lot of mixed opinions on that thing, but it's like that's like a very important game in the history of like Nintendo, and that should just have been on this platform a long time ago. And it's just like when you look at like the list of some of the games that are like they're like dribbling onto these platforms, and it's like when you look at like what's not on there, it's just it's like it's wild, especially on the 64 where like great 64 games, like legitimately like really good 64 games that weren't good because of the time, but like, are actually like would still be like at least fun to play now maybe, or you maybe get something out of playing it now, are so few and far between. And it's just like, man, like these games are just, I don't know. Anyways, it's just, God damn it, they drive me, it's just, man, they drive me nuts. But next up here, moving on, Gables is gone. Hopefully he comes back here shortly. But the next thing in their Nintendo thing here, really our last news topic here. It's, you know, like I said, kind of a lighter news week. We had Nintendo also announced that they're going to like stop the vouchers for the Nintendo eShop for Switch 1. They already announced that they got rid of the gold point stuff earlier this year. They announced that you know, they weren't going to do the voucher system for Switch 2, which people don't know. The voucher system was like, you can buy a voucher digitally on the Nintendo eShop for Switch for $100, and you can get like they had like a collection, but it was pretty much like basically any like Nintendo first party game. So like, you know, you can actually like basically if you buy it digitally, you would get you know, say $20 by buying these games. And like that's something I done a handful of times. I think I probably did like 3 times where I, you know, it's like I remember I remember Nintendo even made the big deal of like, hey, if you can when they announced Tears of the Kingdom was give me $70, they like, hey, like you can buy this and another game for $100 and save $30 instead of 20. It's like that's something I did. Like I think I bought like Advance Wars and Tears of the Kingdom. I did the same thing. I think with I know I did that with I think I bought Pokemon Violet and something else. So yeah, like I've done it, like I said, a few times, and yeah, it's like it's great, especially if you were going to be like you know, sometimes going to be mostly buying digital for the Switch. It was perfect for that, and especially with the fact that like Nintendo games rarely go on sale, and if you do, like they're going to be $40 at the cheapest. Yeah, it does suck. I mean, it's something like I talked about, like, you know, when they announced the whole gold point thing going away. You know, it's like, yeah, like the amount of money you were saving was very minimal, but like if you let it build for a little bit of time, especially if you bought enough games on there, like sometimes you get like, you know, $5-6 off, and like that, you know, it's kind of like you know, same thing with like PlayStation is getting rid of their Pokemon PlayStation Stars things, and like I know like Most people didn't even know they had it. Remember, I told Gables, I'm like, dude, look on the app and look at how many points he had. And he looked on there, he had like $25 and like enough points for like $25 in PlayStation bucks. I'm like, man, a lot of people don't know they have this. I'm like, dude, go on there and look, and they're getting. I think that goes away actually next week, if I'm not mistaken. Like earning the points. That's something I did. Like there was games I was gonna like buy digitally, anyways. I went and just pre-ordered them now. Not that I was like it's not gonna kill me now financially. Just pre-order them now and then buying them later. And I got the points for them. And I got like $15 by just pre-ordering a few games. And it was like it kind of worked out. Like almost every time you like bought a full price game, you basically got $5 back. And I'm like, maybe it doesn't sound like a lot to somebody, but that shit adds up. Like I said, I pre-ordered these games, and I had, all of a sudden I had $15 in points, and I was able to buy a different game on my console. So, or I $15 off my next game I buy or whatever. So, I think it's just a way of them of basically it's like it's little ways of like increasing the price without increasing the price. It's like they're gonna find little ways to get a little bit more money out of you. And like obviously we see with Nintendo is like they're not afraid to go a little higher than everybody else, and they know they can charge a more. Nintendo's always about protect the value. As something like Kit and Krista always say on their podcast, who are like former people that work for Nintendo on like the PR side, and that like the big thing Nintendo always push is protect the value. And I mean that's something. I mean you can argue that like it's frustrating, but also like it works because people are you're not gonna wait 3 months to buy the game if you're gonna buy like probably gonna buy it at launch or when you buy the console or whatever. Because that thing is just gonna be the same price, and like we see with them, like they're not afraid to charge $80 if you want to buy this. If you don't own Mario Party or Kirby the Forgotten Lands already, and you want to buy it on Switch 2, like they're $80. Or Tears of the Kingdom is $80. Breath of the Wild I believe is $70 if you want to buy that thing on Switch 2 now. So yeah, it's like games that are several years old and they're increase the price point of them when you think they do the opposite. So yeah, like I think this is just a way of them of getting everything they can out of you, and it does suck. It's just like it was a cool little thing they did, and I think it was like I think it was like a way of them like of also like pushing people. Like they were definitely like the third of the big three companies as far as like digital percentage. People buying full physical games that have physical copies of buying them digitally. And we've definitely seen over the last few years they finally crossed 50%. I think they're now in like the 60% rate as far as buying like games digitally on Switch 1. So I'm curious like how with especially with them like doing the whole like you save some money if you bought the Mario Kart bundle for Switch 2. I'm curious like especially as you see these like the physical copies of their Switch 2 games are actually just key cards, but they don't even have the game on it. I feel like we are getting closer and closer to like. I'm curious to see what they announce for like when we get to like that next, like quarterly presentation they do for financials, and I'm curious when that point comes out of how much, like what is our percentage now digitally, because I feel like it's going to skyrocket when we get to that next one. But I don't know. Gables is gone. We're gonna pause it, and then when Gables gets back, I'm gonna get his thoughts and opinions on it. All right, Gables is back now. So Gables, I was talking about Nintendo getting rid of the voucher system in January. I mean, what's your overall thoughts on it going away?
Honestly, I'm not too surprised about it. It never really felt like it was going to be a permanent thing anyway when it's first introduced. It was initially, I kind of thought that they were just going to have it out for a time and stuff. If you buy, like, say, a specific game, you get like enough from it for free and this and that. Traditionally, Nintendo, when they do like similar types of sales, like for a duration of time, they generally do have like a set limit. But for this one, it doesn't strike me as surprising, is because they want more people to go and buy their full-on product initially. Since this was something that was introduced with the Switch, it makes sense they're not going to do it with, like, say, the Switch 2, is that console is just starting out, plus you have other Switch 2 games that are going to be coming out in the span of the next couple of years or something where they want to try to make max benefit for it. But it does suck because there were definitely a bunch of people that took advantage of that initiative where you could say, for example, the past couple of years, you could get like Mario and Luigi like Brothership and stuff alongside, and maybe like Tears of the Kingdom or something. This is an example for not paying the full amount and stuff of what it could have cost.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just sucks. But at the same time, I understand why.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna maximize every penny they can out of us. So, like you said, yeah, it's good.
Yep.
It's a good point. Like people like new consoles out. So they know people are going to be buying a ton of these games anyway. So why short themselves change on that? So that's a good point. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it for the news this week as far as like major stuff. I do have a few smaller things here to talk about. A couple of little things here. So Outriders 2 apparently was nearly finished. This is people can fly was making this. Outriders 1 was like a fun like popcorn game that came on Game Pass, stuff like that from Square Enix. Then Square Enix canceled the game like literally when they were nearly done. Like to pull the funding on it, so that's not which sucks here because I actually like Outriders was like the story was nothing, but it was actually like a really fun like 7.5 type of game. Both EA and 2K are teasing the return of college basketball, so I'd be excited for that one. It's one of those things where like I actually like really love the college basketball games like back in the day, like back in like the PlayStation 2, Xbox era. But like I just much as I love those games, I don't know how much I look forward, especially the 2K side where the 2K games are like really well made and they're a ton of fun to play, but the microtransactions just makes those games for me like I don't want to play those games because of how they enforce those into like every mode. It's like I can still play like college football in a Madden in the franchise and dynasty modes, and they like nothing affects. There's nothing in there that like will prevent you. Like there's no microtransactions in those modes. So I don't know. I'm curious how like EA will do because they have not made a basketball game in like a decade. So I'm curious about that. Any excitement for me on that one?
Traditionally EA has kind of struggled in terms of like basketball games in general. I mean, it's kind of like no surprise to me that they want to try to venture back into this realm, especially from the success of bringing back college football last year. And on top of that, Madden is a consistent like couple $1 million seller each year. It becomes one of the biggest grossing like sports games of the entire year itself. But getting back into the realm of college basketball, it does satisfy the itch that certain fans have had to where, with the introduction of college football, college basketball seemed like the next logical step. And at this point, it's like, why not? If this was initial success for bringing back the college football, maybe they're going to be able to bring back and the college basketball thing and have maybe similar success, especially for 2K side of thing, if they say bundle it with the next NBA 2K game.
Yeah.
Not saying it could happen, but if you want to kind of maximize the deal and take an example from what Electronic Arts did right over the past year, bundling both college football and Madden and stuff made for an enticing enough package to where it was near the absolute top of the best-selling games of last year.
Yeah.
So I could see that potentially be one of the main reasons why.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because like you're right. Because like the MVP bundle, with college football and Madden and those games individually, all three of those were in the top 10 best-selling games in the United States last year. So that's a good point. So those things, I'm curious like how big it will be this year, just because obviously this isn't like college football is it's the second go around with it. But I'm curious about that. But next up here, maybe not a surprise to anybody here. Anthem is shutting down in January. So which I don't know. I played the game. I waited like several months to play that game, even though I bought it at launch and I played for like 3 hours. I'm like, this game is just not very fun. So I don't know. It does suck that the game won't be playable anymore. But once they decided they weren't going to do the Anthem next thing, to kind of like give that game one last shot, it was kind of like, oh, well, this thing's dead. So.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, it was touted as this big initial reveal as release and stuff for Xbox back in the day, but then once it launched, there was just so many issues and there was so many type of things that it lost its player base almost immediately, not even with the span of that past couple months of it being out. And then hearing next to nothing in terms of updates from like the team that was building it at the time, and on top of that, it just seems like it was just dead for a number of years anyway, and it was constantly on sale for at least a few bucks. Yeah. I think that's what you ended up picking up Anthem 2 for like a few bucks, was it?
No, I bought mine at launch, but I remember they were selling okay. I paid the full $60 for it, unfortunately. I think it's like I remember like physical copies. People like Best Buy, I think at one point was like if you bought a game, they gave you a free copy of Anthem for a little while. Like that game was like regularly going for like $5. So
yeah, so unfortunately, unlike Outriders and stuff, to where it was like a good 7.5 and it had sort of the simulative aspect of a live service style of game, Anthem never really hit at all.
Yeah.
And so for it to go down like early January, I don't. There may be some people that may lament because of how disappointed, of much of a disappointment it was. But at the same thing, it's like, no one's going to really care too much about it once it does go offline, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's crazy that thing it'll be almost 7 years from that game launch. So it's pretty crazy to think about that. How that just came how fast it came and went. But Gables, let's jump on what we've been playing, buddy. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Let's see. I'll go first.
Okay.
For me, I've played a couple different games this past week. One, I decided just to play offhand and stuff because it was a little bit of a quiet game between like various work days, and that was you know how the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters
Mm-hmm.
like releases and stuff released a number of years ago. Last year, I think I downloaded that entire set, and so I started playing a little bit of Final Fantasy IV. I'm like about 3 hours in. I love the quality of life improvements. I can increase the amount of EXP per battle facing off against certain enemies. I can increase the speed if I want to. And on top of that, I could change between the arrangement of music. So doing that as long as, as well as playing through the initial beginning portion of the game, it's feeling really good. This is like a cozy game to me, dude,
Mm.
because I'm very familiar with Final Fantasy IV. I played through the entirety of it twice, once on Game Boy Advance with its special features and like special little extras. The second was the DS version, which was a remaster of the original release of Final Fantasy IV in Japan, which is a lot more difficult. I remember doing my initial playthrough of that game and the remastered graphics and everything. That game was part of the reason why I had to use an action replay at the time in order to try to beat that game because I couldn't wrap my head around trying to get past certain points in that game, especially in the last section. My party was in the mid 80s and I could not consistently beat that game without using a initial code, but I kind of attribute that to lack of preparedness going into certain aspects of it and also the fact that well, when it came to more difficult games back in the day, I generally gave it a shot, and then if I couldn't beat it to a certain extent, I would just place on the back burner, return to it later or whenever. But yes, for at least for this initial run of playing Final Fantasy IV, I am enjoying what I'm playing. The pixel remaster stuff, I love the graphical style because they have revised some bit of how the characters look and how like the overall terrain stuff looks, which is much appreciated. But let's see. In terms of the character icons, when you go into the menus, they're the classic Super Nintendo style. Love that artwork. Definitely feels like I'm playing my Super Nintendo in terms of that stuff. But my party at this moment in time, I just got past. I just got past the event where you have all these the Red Wings and stuff from the Kingdom of Baron just going through and
Detroit.
bombing that initial castle and stuff of Damsia. It's past that one part and stuff where you have the Mage Tala tell Edward the Bard or stuff. Oh, you Sprony Bard. That infamous line and stuff for translation back when. But I'm past that, and I'm just about to try to get the Sand Ruby from like the Antlion cavern and stuff. So it's still at the beginning portion of that game. It hasn't truly lifted itself into just the mid range of that RPG yet. But I played that. I did download the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 plus 4 remaster. I have almost completely beat Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 in the span of a couple days
Damn.
because I know the courses. There was maybe one thing I had to look up on YouTube, and that was the secret tape for Los Angeles. And basically, what I had to do is when you start out from the level, you go to the left, and there's this line that you have to grind all the way to the top portion, and eventually it leads up for you going off of a like the slab of wood into another platform higher up, and from there you can actually see a grind towards the initial spot that you need to go to, and that's how you get the secret tape
Hmm.
from that one. But I'm loving the music. And yes, I can confirm that Dell the Funky Homo Sapien, that track
Yes, it
is
is.
on there.
Yep.
I specifically played through that game just to see if that track was on there.
Appreciate you going doing that for me.
Yes, because I absolutely You're welcome. I absolutely remember hearing that song while playing through the Suburbia level. Let's see. Yes, there's Iron Maiden. There's Alice in Chains. I did initially hear a couple of like previous tracks. I do remember hearing from back in the day from Tony
CKY.
Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Like I think yeah, CKY and stuff.
There was an I can't remember what there was AC/DC's in there as well. I seen.
Yeah, AC/DC, but I don't know if AC/DC is actually in like that song is inside the game yet.
TNT is not. I think Back in Black is.
Back in Black, but not
Yeah.
TNT.
Yeah.
No, that's weird because that's the intro song to the Pro Skater 4.
Yeah.
But my experience with the game has been a relatively positive one. Instead of using a specific skater, I did the traditional route when I played through these games. I create my own skater. I go to the various levels. I've collected all the tapes up until the absolute final level, which is the cruise line, cruise line for Pro Skater 3. For the life of me, I remember almost next to nothing in terms of that last one because I just spent the vast majority of my time going through the other like 7 or 8 courses at that point. I think the biggest line I've had so far playing this game, it's at least over 400,000 in terms of like a combo, like in terms of the actual score itself. I remember way back when I could do lines and stuff that would get me over 1 million without having to turn on like the perfect grind mode or the perfect manual mode and stuff, because those were a little bit of cheats you could do back in the day because you had to unlock those as specific ports from like the skate shop. But you don't necessarily need them in order to create these crazy ass lines. I think one disappointing aspect that I don't like so far has been like some of the unlockable characters. I do like the aspect that Doom Guy is inside there. You know, Bam Margera, I know it's for like old school purists and stuff that want to be in the game and stuff. TMNT, Michelangelo, I think is one of the turtles you do unlock. I don't like the style because it just does not match the initial, like what everything else is so hyper realistic and stuff. And there are other art styles you could have done for TMNT stuff, but you go with the Nickelodeon style of like, it's just so jarring seeing that aspect of it. But other than that, though, nitpicks aside and stuff, I've been loving my experience with the game. The levels look great, remastered and stuff. I still remember old lines I used to do in that game, and I played through that game, I think, like about a number of years ago, because I tracked down the PS2 copies of both Pro Skater 3 and 4 a long while ago. But, yeah, I have not touched anything from Pro Skater 4, but as of right now, I am fairly happy with what I've played so far. Hell, even most of the original skaters back from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 are there, and there's a bunch of new skaters I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, you have the skaters that you would think would be in there. Obviously, Tony Hawk, but you have Bob Burnquist, Bucky Lasek. You have, like, Eric Costin. You have, like, Jamie Thomas, Kareem Campbell, Alyssa Steamer and stuff, and Jeff Raleigh, freaking Rune Glifberg, which that's a name I haven't heard in quite a long time because of his vert stuff that he's done. But yeah, Chad Muska as well. I forgot. Yeah, that dude as well. But yeah, most of the original skaters are there from both of those games. So I'm happy at least to see that. But other than that, though, it's kind of similar to how Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 remake was, to where you earn a specific amount of cash, you earn a different amount of stuff to unlock gear, unlock specific like looks and authentic stuff for your board, the grip tape, all the various details and that sort of stuff. But yeah, if say you're interested in playing these style of games, or you're just someone like say Tyler or I, they're just kind of lapsed in terms of playing certain games, but you really want to play this, check it out on Game Pass. Yeah. I'm dead serious, because you play this game on Game Pass or something like that, it's a much better deal in terms of that without having to spend so much for the initial full-on copy right now.
Yeah, I think it's like $50, so it's not. I don't think it's full.
It's
price.
50. It's fine.
Yeah,
but at the same time, if you already have Game Pass already, give it a play.
Yeah,
I would just recommend that.
Yeah, I played for a little bit too. I've only played a couple hours of it. I'm running into the same issue I did with Pro Skater 1 and 2. For just my skills for that game are just gone. Like I just like there's certain games I can pick up from like back in the day and play now, even like a remade mode of it, and like it's just like it might take a little bit, but like it'll come back to me, and like but I'm like man, like I am just like terrible at this game. Like I like like everything is gone for me. And it's like also like too where it's like was I ever really good at these games, or was I like I was good enough to like I can like get through the entire like beat everything, maybe not 100% everything, but like I could do everything. And like I can at least like unlock everything, like enough to like base the seat credits. I remember doing the cruise line, all that.
Right.
But like in like I just like I can't. I can barely do fucking like I'm struggling just to get to like the like get the combo or not to get the combo like get the points. I've only unlocked like I'm on I've got to Rio so far. So like just the third um, level. So not super far into it, but I've spent I think I need like one more thing in like the first level in the Foundry, and I've done like four. Or I need like four more in the second level in Canada, but yeah, it's like it is insane to me, like because like my love for Tony Hawk was like Tony Hawk 3 and Underground. It was like the two that I loved back in the day, so I was like most excited for 3, and I'm playing this, and I'm like, there's definitely like everything coming back to me, like oh man, I love like I remember I remember everything on these maps. It's just like my fingers I just can't do the things I used to do in this game. So it's just like I feel like I'm playing like a fighting game where I'm just mashing buttons instead of like understanding like oh like, it's like just second nature. Like when I play Madden nowadays, I don't even need to like I just know how to do everything. It's like it's the total opposite with this game.
What I would recommend is if you're doing a creative skater in terms of your playthrough, always just invest in terms of like the airtime and the hang time and
Yeah,
then the rail stuff, and you can pretty much make do with that for the entire initial run of that initial game.
yeah,
Because if you don't have that maxed out, then you're going to have a lot more issues in terms of landing tricks and also in terms of doing stuff. And you got to also remember, because this is Pro Skater 3, that's when you could use the revert stuff. So
mm,
once you land from like a vert stuff, you can just do the tapping like the right trigger or something like that. There's a revert, and then you can manual it after the revert and stuff to combo different,
yeah,
just extend different combos and stuff. Like for
yeah.
example, when I had my playthrough back in like in the airplane level, not just the airplane level, but the last major competition or something, I actually did a thing where I went up, did a 900, did a revert manual, and went through another thing and did another 900 and land that.
Jeez. Okay. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. It's just like even like I used to be like I was like really good. I was actually pretty like not maybe not really good, but like I was pretty good at like grinding and manuals and stuff back in the day. But it's like man, I'm just like yeah, I don't know. I'm like frantic on this shit. Like I'm just losing my mind. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep playing it because like I said, Tony Hawk 3 was like my Tony Hawk. So and yeah, like playing hearing Del the Funky Homo Sapien on this game was just is like oh yeah, this feels good. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna keep playing it. But I might break down and put on the assist modes. Maybe I don't know. I haven't looked at them yet. I'm gonna look at them. I don't know how, like it's one of those, I hope there's like a balancing thing to it more than just like perfect grinding. I don't want that shit. So I'm gonna look at it maybe, but we'll see. I've been playing that, and then the one other like new game I've been playing. I've been playing College Football 26. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. It's like
Right.
I put hundreds of hours into these games between Madden and college football. I put a ton of time into each of these games. Like last year, I think I played. Helped that I was out for 6 months last year, injured. So I spent like probably a couple hundred hours in both. Or typically I spend like a few hundred hours in the Madden. But I talked about last year. Like it was just like last year was just like the hype and the excitement of like college football being back after like, I think it was like 12 years, maybe 13. But like it was like the gameplay was great. Like it felt really well made and everything like that. But like
Right.
everything else felt very bare bones. Like the menus felt very bare bones. Like like you go into like the recruiting and like everything, like even like the trophies, like for the rivalry games and everything. Like you go like the stadiums look great, but like they didn't have like the atmosphere necessarily to like match what you expect from like just like the things you like when you watch TV. Like they didn't have all it there, and I really feel like this like last year was like all right, like we're gonna just like, proof this is like a proof of life. Like hey, this thing is like it's here, and it was like don't get me wrong, the game was incredible to play, which is obviously the most important part of the game. It was incredible to play. They like it was like awesome going into like seeing like living in Iowa and going and seeing Kinnick Stadium and like they have like the wave after the first quarter where they wave to the children's hospital, like that stuff was there and it was cool to see, but it was like you can see like a lot of things was missing, and this was like this year was like the gameplay is much better. Like they always like like I understand a lot of people like buying it every year is kind of dumb. I get the argument. There are every year improvements to like overall gameplay. Some years like maybe it's like not as good as others, but I feel like things have gotten a lot better as far as like body, like when you like control your character, like just like the way they flow, the way they move, feels a lot more natural, feels a lot better. It kind of like they feel a lot swiftier, so I do love that. Like to me, like I always love college football, like the video game more, just because like there's so many different styles of like defense, so many different styles of like offense. Like I love going up and like when you can make your own custom schedule and like playing like a Navy that does like the triple option, and just like because you're like you're never are like playing like against a team that runs like a 3-3-5 defense, or like you play up against like a spread team or an RPO team. It's just like as much as I love Madden, like for the most part, a lot of things are the same. A lot of things are similar. Obviously, like playing like a shitty team versus a great team is a lot different. But like it's just so much fun. Like going into like I love going in like scheduling myself to go play at Texas, and just like playing in Texas, and like the stadium. They have the stadium atmosphere where like some of your players like get rattled by being in like on the road, and like when you like, or if your quarterback isn't like maybe doesn't have a lot of experience or is not like highly rated, like he gets rattled, so he's not as accurate maybe, or like when you zoom out to look at the buttons for your or look at your routes, like you can't see the routes or see the plays, so you don't know what they're gonna run, or you can't really see things. Like I love all that stuff, and like you can actually feel that. Like I actually like I'm playing my dynasty mode, and like playing like I was playing in like just playing in like Indiana, like and it was just like seeing like you can actually like feel like your controller shaking, like the camera shaking. Like I was like usually I play like a podcast on, and I was just like listening to it, like this is incredible. Like you can like it was just, like I was getting some chills and stuff, like just like how incredible like it gets. And like also like what's really great is like when you play a game in the afternoon, like you can actually see like the lighting is so much better now, where like you can actually see like the clouds shifting, and like you can see the shadows in the field shifting as it gets later and later in the day, and like now it's nighttime, and just like man, just playing in Kinnick at night is just awesome. And like when you like I had like I broke off like a 30-40 yard run for a touchdown, and like the whole like crowd's going nuts. Like it just feels like like on college football, like it feels like the crowd's just like way more on top of you than like in like in like NFL stadiums. So it's just like the shaking and like the roar of like the crowd just feels a lot better. Like they'll actually do the chants. Like it's cool, they've actually brought back, they actually have like licensed music that's played by like the band and like the main menus. We're like in the first game, in last year's game, that they had like one like band song they just played over and over again. Like now they actually have like the fight songs from different schools. They'll actually like play like actual like they have Seven Nation Army, and they have that Travis Scott, that Fiend. If anybody watched WrestleMania, unfortunately it's in that game.
Oh god, that one.
Yeah, I wish I never had to hear that fucking song again. But like they actually have like, and it's cool is like the bands will play it during the game, and then the crowds will continue to chant it. Like they do the whoa oh 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 oh, like they'll actually do like the chants, and like I think it's South Carolina. They come out to oh god, I can't remember what the actual. It's from the fuck. It's Ric Flair's theme though. It's that song. They actually like come out to it. Like obviously like like Iowa Hawkeyes come out to like Back in Black, and like I think it's Clemson or Virginia Tech comes out to Enter Sandman. Like they're not gonna have those in there, which is unfortunate because those are incredible. But I get why those would be incredibly expensive. There's like all these, like every school comes out to like licensed music, and that would like be incredibly expensive. I get why it's not there. But like that's like the one touch they're missing. But like the biggest thing is just like nailing down more of like the atmosphere, I think, of like when you go into all these different stadiums and everything like that. And like I feel like the announcers are a lot better. Like they actually like talk about things that happened like previous weeks or like last year's game. And also they talk about like, or like just going in like recruiting mode is so much, as they speed that up so much more, where like now like you can, it shows you at the top of like what you're gonna be needing next year, and instead of like, all right, I gotta go, and like, all right, who's all right, which players are graduating, or who might transfer. Had to go into a totally different menu. I literally had to like in my notepad on my phone, I had to make a notepad in there, like write down like and type out what I needed for like next year. Like now it's all there in front of you. They like has really speeded up a lot of things, and like also just like they keep track now. Like you can look up the history of like all like every school's like record of like the last like 20 years. You can look up like the trophy room. You can look at like they just really like deep dive more. It made everything so much more fluid, at least in Dynasty mode. I don't play Ultimate Team. I don't give a shit about that. But like just like I've enjoyed it so much more than like last year's, just because like that's the shit like as in like the nerd in me, and like as much as I love like Madden and college football, I get more into like the the team building part of things than I do like anything else. Like that's some of my favorite stuff. Like in Madden is like the drafting, like getting into like scouting the players, or like keeping track of like the cap space, and like planning like 2 years in the future. Like, all right, this left tackle, I'm not gonna be able to afford him, so I gotta like draft this guy and like focus on him and get his experience points up so I can like level him up. So that way he's better when like, so in 2 years when he's starting now, he'll be decent for me, like that's the shit I get into. So like it is really like I'm really enjoying that. And just like I said, like man, like I've always played like football games with like with the podcast on, and I'm just like enjoying like I was playing like a really tense game. Like I played like number 1 Penn State in the country, and like just like that game was like super close and really tight, and I was like man, I'm like shaking. Like I was like getting so tense because it was like 24-27. I'm up, and like they're going down the field on me, and like getting interception to like seal the win was just like was incredible. So yeah, I love it. It's incredibly fun. So if like ever some people say like I got 25, I'm happy now. Like I don't need to upgrade next year. Like yeah, it's not gonna be like crazy different, but if you're wanting like more realistic and like a more streamlined experience and Dynasty, like to me it's worth it. And like I'm biased because I buy these things every year. I bought the MVP bundle like the second it went up to purchase back in like April. So like I'm the guy that like, I'm the hardcore of the hardcore, except for like I don't play the Ultimate Team because I'm not gonna spend a ton of money on that stuff. I just want to play my franchise, my Dynasty. But like if that's what you want and that's what you're looking for this, like it is, I think it is worth it just for like the improvements they made alone to things. So yeah, I'm gonna be playing a ton of that. I think I played like 10 games already, and just over the last few days. So I'm gonna be playing a ton of that over the next while. So yeah, that's all I've been playing. But Gables, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us this week. I do want to thank you guys so much for checking us out. Like I said, we're on every podcast service. We're on YouTube. Please like, follow, subscribe, share with your friends, tell your friends, leave the comments, all that stuff. To help us out. Just help us out with the algorithm. There's membership you can sign up for on our YouTube channel, just $1 a month. Just like a way to say, hey, thank you for what you're doing, and we appreciate what you're doing, and we will appreciate if you do that for us. But I was your host, I was Tyler.
I've been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yeah.
Too sweet?
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.